Hey, what's up, YouTube? How is everyone doing? It's Monday evening. Price of BTC is currently 39.06. Let me grab this link and post it in all my groups that I'm a part of. And let's get this show on the road, guys. Let's get this show on the road. Okay. I'll post this here, going live. BTC discussion. Trade updates. Actually, free trades. Because I'm going to be giving out some trades today, guys. So stick around and enjoy the show. So how's everyone doing? How are y'all doing right now? BTC fell off the cliff, and I'll show you guys exactly how I knew to get out of my positions when I did, and so you guys can learn how to do the same. Because I told my group, my Cryptosomniac community, to get out of trading all of our trades, actually. I think it was Friday or Saturday. So a couple days before, and I know some of the alts popped off, but for the most part, you know, I knew to get out of that position because, you know, the market itself was already a little bit too high for my comfort. So let's see what's going on here. Let's see how many people we got watching. I got a couple people watching right now. Hey, what's going on, JK? What's up, Pico? Mark G, what's going on? HTF is high time frames. Okay, so the higher time frames are like the daily chart, you know, the weekly chart, monthly chart, etc. Okay, so you know, let me go back and sort of recap of what exactly happened in my community, and you know, how we close out our trades, why we close them out, etc. Right. So this is where I started to announce that, hey, guys, you know, I wanted to start getting out of my trades. Before that, actually, let me sort of break down exactly what I mean. Okay, so you know, we have at least for myself and you know my fund, we have the way I like to break down my capital is, you know, we have a limited trading capital, right? So I allocate myself, and then I've got a long-term investing capital. Okay, and I never mix the two. Okay, so my long-term investing capital, I always, you know, keep dollar cost averaging or, you know, picking up on alts that I am a really big fan of. One of them being MakerDAO, Nebulous, Horizon, you know, Zilliqa, Ethereum, Bitcoin, you know, some of these positions, and I mean, you know, BAT as well. But there's a lot of these coins that I have my radar on. But I like to buy, you know, every now and then when I see that it's either resilient or it's starting to hit oversold levels on certain time frames, or you know, the past couple of months when BTC was heading down, I started buying these alts, you know, a lot. Okay, so I don't mix my long term, and I kind of, you know, keep buying them, and I don't really want to trade them anytime soon or sell them anytime soon. And then I have my trading capital, which is strictly for trading, and you know, that is 20 to 30% of my overall capital. So for example, if you have $100,000, you know, 60 to 70K should be dedicated for strictly investing. Okay, at least that's what I do. Okay, and then 20 to 30K I would keep for trading. Okay, and you should definitely trade less of your capital if you're newer to trading. Like, you know, if you have 10K, I would not risk more than 10% of your capital, maybe even less, maybe 5%. Okay, so $500. So, you know, sort of keep an eye on how you trade, understand exactly what kind of, you know, psychological tendencies that you have in the market, because learning from, you know, what kind of risk profile of a trader that you are and what your, you know, propensities are in terms of getting in trades, getting out of trades, you will learn about yourself as a trader. Okay, you'll learn things about, you know, your emotional stability in the market, how you react to certain price movements, etc. Okay, So here are the positions, that we closed out. Here's my investing breakdown too, right here, long term. So you guys are getting to see all this. Hopefully you come join our community and, you can get a firsthand look at how we invest and trade. So here's my long-term investments right there. Maker is one, Ethereum, Nexo, Nebulous, Bitcoin, Horizon, BAT, and XLM. And I'm still watching ZIL, EOS, MAS, which is Midas, the Midas platform, and a few other projects. Okay, and these trades are actually all closed out. All right, so I had actually mentioned Friday, right? So I mentioned that I'm going to. This was, as you can see, Friday at around 11 a.m. Okay, I mentioned basically, I'm going to start closing out my trades. I started off with my BAT position, cutting that, from 30% to 15%, and even then, right, like that sort of moved up a good amount, even when I let it go. So I let it go around probably like right here somewhere in this area, but then after that it took off. Okay, and so I didn't even care about this whole move because I knew for the most part that BTC was not doing too well in this area. So this is where Bitcoin was when BAT was taking off. And I love BAT, but I also know and humbled by BTC quite often. Okay, and I knew that if BTC is going down, more than likely this alt and many other alts are actually going to start coming back down. But I like BAT because I can not only trade it, but I can long-term accumulate it. Okay, so I can start moving positions back and forth. So here's where we are, right? So I mentioned that I'm going to start trimming my positions, and I'll explain in a second why I just made that decision and how did I know to sort of get out of the market, right? So first, here's our sort of profit and loss statement for the trades that we had and some of the cumulative gains that we had over the past 30 trading days. So one, we lost about -7% on, and I'm never afraid, guys, to explain my losers. I have quite a few, and my community will tell you that I'm not afraid to talk about my losses, because if you're not losing any trades, chances are you're either a god or you're just lying, and more often it's the latter, right? So here's where we are, and ELF gave us a nice healthy 18%, LTC gave us a whopping 33%, Nebel gave us 20%, BAT gave us 29%, ZIL 5%, Loom 24%, Aeon 3%, ETH 1%, and then 20 to 30% of my capital was actually just held in cash through the entire trading period. Okay, so usually I don't like to go 100% all in with even my trading capital. So as you can see, we had cumulative gains of 23%. Very good, past 30 days of trading, and then I needed a break. I saw that the market was taking off a little bit too much, to the upside while BTC was down, and that's never really healthy. Okay, for the most part, I mean, when alts start taking off, especially shitty alts, it doesn't go so well when BTC sort of takes a tumble. They get wrecked. All right, so one thing that I wanted to mention is, why close out positions early, right? And this is my explanation right here. This is what I wrote up to my community is markets don't really owe you anything, guys. When you set out with a trade plan, they're general guidelines. You don't have to stick to, direct figures on a chart. They don't mean anything because literally in, a minute or two or an hour, anything can change. The market could dump 10% on you and you have to revise your plan. You have to deviate from your original plan and then you have to adapt. Okay, so sticking to your original targets when the landscape has completely changed is irrational and will cause you to take unnecessary risk. And we're in a game of trading where it's all about calculated risk. Okay, with more risk and better risk reward ratios, and that's really it. Okay, nothing more, nothing less. All right, and then people sometimes troll me on TradingView or something like, hey, did I get wrecked on X trade? No, I really didn't. Proper risk management and position sizing allows me to know that I can't win all my trades, nor do I need to, okay? So the best traders in the world have a 50 to 60% strike rate, meaning, half their trades are wrong. But the ones that are wrong are, much smaller than their winners, okay? And so why did I change my mind when I, got out of the market right around this area right here? Well, so markets are dynamic, right, guys? And honestly, they don't owe you an explanation or to anyone, and you need to change your mind accordingly. So if your technicals tell you that you're not seeing your plan or price play out, you need to adapt and, sort of execute a different style of plan and reevaluate your plan, okay? Trading is an emotionless game. Drop your ego, forget your original plans if the market changes, and adapt or you will perish, okay? You'll lose your capital and you'll start, losing a ton of money. All right, so where are we with BTC? Okay, so once we got out of the market, right, I have not provided a signal to our community for the past, 3 days now or 4 days now to get back into the market. And you can ask anyone, in our community. I mean, all our trades are pretty much closed. The only thing that we're watching right now is BAT. Okay, and I love BAT, but even with BAT, right, I want to see BTC sort of reclaim this zone right here. Okay, this zone right here is around, let's just say 39.25, just to be safe. Okay, so once it starts moving above this area, which was once resistance way back here, right, and then it became support, okay, and now it, sort of broke down under it. Now it might be resistance again. So what we need to do is watch the same area, okay, again 39.25 to be safe, and make sure that BTC can sort of, climb nicely above it, maybe even come down and retest this, and then keep on moving back up maybe to 4,000. But until then, I would not want to get back into this market. If BTC starts moving up here, first thing I'm going to buy is BAT, okay? So if you're watching this right now, you know my trade plan, okay? And I'm not afraid to sort of, tell people what I'm going to do, what I'm going to buy, because at the end of the day, I mean, we make gains in our community, guys. I'm not afraid to be wrong either, okay? One thing on BAT that we called out was I see a big cup and handle playing out, something like this, right? So if I pull this out a little bit more, so here's that big cup right there. Cup and handles are big bullish patterns. If you know how to read them, if you know how to play them, they work out really well. And you can see that I stated in my community that here are the zones that we need to look at for buying, okay? 208, 204 right there, and 1975 right there, okay? All three of them hit, okay? So we are perfectly within our buy zone right now for BAT. But I would rather pay a higher price knowing that BTC is a little bit healthier, okay? So what we're really looking forward to for Bitcoin is 39.25 for now, okay? Anything below that, I'm gonna be a little bit more, careful on. I wouldn't really want to risk my capital. So 39.25 is what we're looking for. Now let's see how the daily chart looks with the way BTC closed at this candle, okay? So the volume on this particular big candle drop was decent, but it wasn't anything, significant, right? It's still lower than this volume right here, which tells me one thing, okay, that the volume overall is declining in terms of sell side volume. So you could see this candle right here, fairly high, and then obviously these ones in the middle still, lower than this, and then this one is pretty much this size right here, and this one is much lower than this one, okay? So it tells me that sell side volume is declining, and that we have a higher chance that, the buy side volume, which is more prevalent in the last, 15 to 20 days that we've been trading. So that's good. That's a positive sign. That means, it's net positive for the bulls in terms of demand, which is good. All right. So I am looking forward to making sure that the bulls can actually push the prices higher. And so the next levels that we're looking for are 39.25. And also, hopefully, you know, once we get back up towards 3960, that's my next one, 3990, and then 4015. Okay, once we get up past, you know, these 3 or 4 levels that I just listed, it should be fairly easy to climb back up into this resistance right here again. Okay, but you could see that, you know, we got rejected pretty hard right here, and then sort of, you know, just created a big rounded sort of move. And as long as we don't fall any further, you know, into the lower like 3800s, we should be okay. Okay, I'm not overly concerned, you know, especially with this big downside wick right here. This is basically, you know, the way you read this is big wick to the bottom means all the wick right here was bought up by buyers. Okay, this was all demand right here. So technically half of this volume right here is all buying. Okay, so nothing, you know, too grave to be concerned about, but still not the best sign that, you know, we fell out of a nice ascending channel that we had, right? Let me turn off this volume, and you can see that we had this nice, you know, sort of ascending channel movement right here from 3900, and we're moving nicely, traversing through it, but then now we finally fell out. Okay, so not the best sign in terms of positive movement, but if we can get back up into that channel, that could be pretty good. Okay, how's everyone doing? What's up, Pico? What's up, Ryan Jack? Barry Herbst, how you doing, man? What do you think the bottom of BTC will be this year? You know, to be honest, it's really hard to project what exactly the end of the year will look like. But I've stated before, and I actually stated this in all my analysis. Let me see if I could pull this up on BLX. This is one of the analysis I did a little while back. Let me see the monthly chart right here. So we had, like, you know, 6 months of downside, right? And now we're actually having 2 positive months right here. Okay, this is something that we haven't seen in a while. Now, you know, on this chart right here, right, I had mentioned that Bitcoin has not been able to sort of climb over that, you know, 200 EMA. Okay, so let me show you guys that 200 EMA. And it's really struggling at that 200 EMA line right there, which is also perfectly lined up with the supply around 4,000. Okay, so that orange line right there is the 200 EMA, and it's finding, you know, a lot of resistance around that area. Okay, you know, way back here around 2015 or so, you know, this EMA, the 200 EMA, was used as support, just as, you know, the 200 MA was too. Let me turn that on and show you guys. Okay, so let's make this 200 MA, and again, this is the weekly chart, right? BLX is the Brave New Coin Liquid Index. It actually provides the most amount of Bitcoin data. So you could see that the 200 weekly moving average was, you know, used as support way back here in 2015. And it's actually been used as support right here too. But one thing that we're struggling with right now is, you know, you can see that this reverse Fibonacci right here, right? Once we drop down from the $6,700 area, the top right here, we dropped all the way down to 3,100, but we're struggling to get back up to the 618 Fibonacci level. Usually in most, you know, equity markets, you want to see, if you really want to see strength, right? Once something drops so much, right? So once something just tanks like that, you want to see the reverse start climbing up to the 618 Fibonacci from wherever it dropped from up here to the bottom. Okay, so in this case, that would be from this high right here, which is, you know, about 6,600 down to 3,100, and then reverse back at least up to 5,300 bucks. And we're just not seeing that. But I do believe that, you know, if Bitcoin can keep hammering away at 3,900 or 4,000, I think there's a high chance that it can get back up to the high 4,000s or even the low 5,000s. Okay, and the reason I say that is because Just like support, right? Resistance operates the same way. The more you keep hammering away at a zone, right? So for example, this supply right here, okay? So it's been, touched once right there, twice, 3 times, 4 times, okay? Just briefly 5 times. So if, price keeps sort of moving up there, getting rejected, creating higher lows, getting rejected, creating higher lows, and then, it's eventually is going to push on up and through, okay? Because what's happening in this area right here is there's a lot of sellers waiting to sell their Bitcoin, okay? And if the demand outpaces the supply, well, what's going to happen? Well, all this is going to get bought up right here, and then price is slowly going to push on through, because the demand will also want to buy up things on the next level. Or what will happen is the people who are waiting in the supply and the smart, demand that's buying all this up, they will essentially buy out this block, right? And then these prices are going to move on up to the next level. And the other traders who are looking for the same confirmation, right, that 4,200 is going to be broken, they're going to jump in and they're going to push prices higher by buying, because they just saw a significant level get broken. And then what's going to happen is the retailers are finally going to push the prices up, okay? So it's usually the smartest traders who are really moving the markets, the big money traders, the high net worth individuals, maybe even institutional traders. And then it's, the smart traders who follow on the backs of the institutional traders. And then retailers are usually the last, okay? So the retailer herd will get in, at prices way up here, okay? So they'll probably get in around 45, 4,800, maybe 5,000, and they will be the last push to, get prices to skyrocket. And so what we need to do is, watch for the push out of 4,200 or so, because once that happens, the next level is 4,400. And after that, guys, I honestly think it's just, like open sky all the way till 5,000. I don't see, maybe even 6,000 actually. So that's why I'm, pretty happy about the way Bitcoin is moving for now. I just want to make sure that this is a sustainable movement. But what I did see from the, shorter time frames, this is why I let the trades go way back here, is I saw too much of a movement in alts. And I saw too much of a complacency in Bitcoin. Okay, so when you see that sort of dynamic of, high-rise movements in alts, and then complacency in Bitcoin, especially when you're struggling through a critical demand, right, or critical supply right here, like this area, this is not a zone that you want to be playing out with. Okay, usually when you start, encountering zones like this, you need a lot of buying power. Okay, so you don't want to, get retested and pushed down all the way, because it gets harder and harder, guys, every time that prices go up, touch this level, and then, people start selling off, and then prices dig in deeper, like where we are right now. Okay, it's almost better to have buyers who know that, hey, this is obviously expected, we're going to get rejected here. So once it retraces, I'm going to buy in this area, and I'm going to help for the next push, because I know that for the most part, this area is going to get broken. But the thing is, guys, usually the reason why retailers most often lose money is, number one, they're not patient. Number two, they expect results right away, and they don't buy when prices retrace. Rather, they buy when prices are all the way, rocket high. Okay, most people don't understand exactly, when to sort of buy, not on a falling knife, if you will, but rather when to take a calculated risk. Okay, so for example, a calculated risk to, say place a buy order is actually right here. Okay, in this particular area right here, 3,900. So if you bought in 3,900, yeah, you might be under the water right now, just a little bit, maybe a couple dollars, right? Because, the candle and the wicks bled through. But for the most part, 3,900 is a pretty strong support, okay? if things really break down, the next level that you should look for is maybe like this area right here before prices pushed on up, you know, all the way up here. Okay, so probably like 38.50, maybe 38.25 if you really want to set a stop. Okay, now if you set a stop at like say 38.80, 38.70, I think that's reasonable too. But if you really want to be a little bit more aggressive with your stop, you know, you would set it right down here. Okay, why? Because you know that this was the previous movement of a sideways, you know, sort of consolidation, right? So when we had this sort of tightening movement right here, this is before, you know, this big move happened. This right here consolidated. So you want to always set your stops underneath the consolidation levels before that big move up. Okay, that allows you to know that if these buyers are underwater, that means it's okay for you to sell your position too, because more than likely these people are going to sell off too. Okay, so you want to take those trades, you know, in a smart, calculated manner. Okay. All right. What else is going on, everybody? Is this helping? I hope you guys are enjoying this analysis. I know sometimes I get, you know, into my old ways of, you know, preaching really technically, and I have, you know, a certain methodology of how I go about trading. So I'm glad you guys are enjoying it. So let me give you guys, you know, that free tip, okay? So as I mentioned, you know, before, BAT is the one I'm watching. This is, you know, by far the best sort of pattern that's playing out. And also, you know, I did my BTC analysis this morning in my community. As you guys know, if you were part of my community, you know, I do BTC analysis every single morning. It's a live video analysis of 10 to 15 minutes of what's happening in the markets, what we're looking for in terms of price, multiple updates through the day. I do this every single day, right? Sunday, here's Saturday, you know, here's multiple explanations with the books that I own. You know, here's Friday. So I do this every single day, and anyone in this group, or, you know, whoever's watching this right now, who's part of my community, will tell you that I post a video analysis every single day because I want to keep my community informed. Okay, because I don't want you guys to just be, you know, kind of people who just follow signals and trades. I want you guys to be able to seek out good material, even if it's not me. Even if you go out into the world of, you know, technical analysis and crypto Twitter or Reddit or Telegram groups or Discord groups, make sure you search good content. You know, make sure you call out other people on their bullshit, you know, and you know, let them know that, hey, you know, I may not be as smart as you, but I know for sure that, you know, you don't know what the hell you're talking about. And this is the sad thing about the crypto Twitter space and, you know, all these Discord groups is like, I don't know how exactly everyone started becoming technical analysis experts overnight, but it is pretty sad that, you know, they're taking your money and not even, you know, giving you anything valuable out of it, right? Like in our community, you know, we close out all these trades, right? I just showed it to you guys. Yeah, I may have lost, you know, this 7% trade right here, or I pretty much broke even on ETH at 1%. But all these other trades, right, have gotten us, you know, a good amount of gains, guys. And even back here, you know, like I've gotten some good trades over the past couple of weeks, maybe even 2 or 3 months now, where we've gotten a good amount of, you know, money back. Actually, a good amount of money made on the market. So we're doing a pretty good job of exactly, you know, how to play the technicals in a market. Okay? All right, back to price. So what we're looking for right now is BAT, okay? And here are the targets for BAT, okay? So from these blue targets, and again, I'm not taking the trade just yet, just FYI. I will let my community know in the Advantage and the Advantage members when I'm going to take the trade and what trades other than BAT I'm going to take. But for the most part, I'm going to be taking BAT. So that's one of your free trades that you guys get. All right. So BAT, we're going to be taking a trade, let's just say from this area right here all the way up here. That's a 27% gain. And from here all the way up is our next target, about 50%. Okay, and I expect this kind of move to happen over maybe in the next, I don't know, 2 to 4 weeks. So let's you know, sort of watch and see how this plays out, and you guys could let me know if you made some gains out of it. Okay, so yeah, BAT is on my radar. Let's JK says let's check out Fun. All right, I'll check out Fun for you. Let's see how that's doing. Okay, so I drew this way back here in, you know, January right here, and this was sort of like the head and shoulders pattern. I got kind of lazy on this, but I saw this head and shoulders pattern playing, and I mentioned that, you know, if it breaks the neckline, it's going to break on under, and it did. Fun is actually, you know, moving at a nice higher low right now, so this is actually pretty, I mean, it looks good, to be honest. You know, let me sort of do that. I don't like to cut through bodies, but I don't mind cutting through wicks. So it's at a nice higher low. It's moving on up. I would probably say, you know, if Bitcoin plays well, Fun would be a good trade too. I don't know much about Fun, but yeah, I think it's like related to gambling, or it's a gambling token, if I'm not mistaken. So keep an eye on Fun, guys. Next thing I would do actually for Fun is probably look for a break above, first things first, like, I don't know, 120 at least, right? So 122 would be your first level to watch. Next level is, you know, maybe 125, 130, your other level to watch as resistance. But until then, I mean, you know, you could take a risk by buying here, or just be safe and, you know, try to buy anywhere between, say, 125 and 130. Okay, just to be safe. All right, someone mentioned another coin. Let's see what it was. Let's see. How do you find? Oh, Pico says, how do you find supply and demand zones? I still buy tops like a fool. No worries, man. Let's talk about that a little bit, okay? So, Paco, so here we go. All right. So, if you're not part of our community, please join so I can explain this to you. Here's what I like to do. Okay, here's a simple way of sort of understanding supply and demand. All right. So what I like to do is I like to watch where the wicks poke, and, you know, what levels do they hit where the other side around. So for example, say this is, you know, a sideways level, okay, and price is falling and falling and falling, and it bounces off this level right here, okay, and say it, you know, bounces off twice, but then it just rips on through, and then it drops a lot, but then it comes back, tests this level, and then drops again. Okay, so what we do in this case is we say, okay, this area right here, this line right here, is a very reactionary zone. And because this got, you know, when the price sort of came down and got rejected, right, that means that there are a lot of sellers in this area. And this is where you determine that, okay, this is a supply zone because there's a lot of sellers in this area, and those sellers are not letting the price pass through. So supply zone is nothing more than, you know, a fancy word for a strong resistance level where there's a lot of sellers that are increasingly more than the buyers, or say the demand. Okay, so in this case, I determined this by something like this. Okay, so previously, you know, this area right here, I had these big wicks poking through this region with this big, you know, green candle. But then once it ripped on through, you could see the price went down all the way, came back, tested the same level as resistance with multiple wicks, right? And another way to test how something is a strong supply is I do this, okay? So say we, you know, did, you know, find a supply like this. A good way to determine how strong the supply is, you know, what happens usually, guys, is you'll test this, you know, as support, and then price will rip on through, right? We'll try to, you know, bounce back up into it, and first time price will get all the way through, or try to with a big wick, and then it'll come down again, and then it will try again, but it won't get as far deep into that supply. and then it'll just come down. And next time around, it'll barely touch that supply and then just get rejected. So perfect example of that is this right here. You can see that this area right here, supply, you can see touch once, touch twice. This is a FOMO candle, rejected hard, moved on back up in a nice circular fashion, and then you can see that price met, you know, this wick right here, right, met much lower than these wicks right here, and that's it. And then we moved away from that supply for almost 2 to 3 weeks, never came back to it until just, you know, last month. Okay, but now we're facing the same dilemma again. Okay, luckily we haven't hit that same sort of supply just yet, but we're going to try to attempt that again. Okay, if we sort of get back into that $3,900, $4,000 area. So if this sort of movement happens again, right? So for example, you know, we hit way up into this supply right here, and if price comes back up here again, just taps it and then comes back down again, but it's not enough that it just comes back down. It's rather that, you know, it starts breaking the structure of higher lows. Okay, so if it gets rejected and price starts breaking below, say, you know, some of these levels, like say 3,900, maybe even 3,800, then you know the game is over and it's time to sell off and wait for the next bounce off the next strong support, which may be even this, you know, sort of ascending trend line that we've had for so long. Okay, you can see that this trend line has been starting up from December, touched twice at, you know, on beginning of February, and now it's coming back potentially to meet us maybe, you know, later down the line, maybe in April or May at some point. Okay, but for now we're looking decent, not too bad, but still, you know, waiting for that next move up into the 3,000, 4,000 supply. Okay, all right, what else is going on, guys? So as you can see, I mean, we also have a pretty active community. You know, if you want to join our channel, guys, you know, we're in here quite a bit. We also have our daily newsletter that my wife Camille actually types up, and you know, today's was about only 5% of BTC trading volume is accurate. So you get this kind of news every single day. So you, not only, you know, through technicals, through what I do, you stay on top of the market, but you have someone else to give you, you know, an insight of what's happening on the fundamental front. Okay, whether it's, you know, fake trading volume, or you get to see, you know, the fundamental growth of a particular project, or what's happening, you know, in you know, a part of the space that you may not be familiar with. You get to, you know both sides. All right, so something that I look forward to every day. But going back to our analysis, we'll be posting, you know, more trades in our short-term, medium-term, and long-term channels in the next couple of days once BTC starts moving. So come join, come check out our community. We also have user requested, guys. You know, this is where people start, you know, asking questions about particular coins, and then I answer with the technicals. You know, so for example, someone asked me about Qcoin shares. Someone asked me about, let's see, ZEC, you know, ZEC right here. So, you know, you can ask whatever questions that you have in our community, and I will be happy to answer them. Okay, so we have a lot of channels, and you know, a lot of it is, if you really want to learn, you know, how to trade properly, how to not make mistakes, we have a ton of educational stuff too. If you go on our Cryptosomniac website right there, okay, you can see right here, if you go to products, okay, you can buy the Advantage subscription, all right, or you can buy my course, which is only $10, and you know, learn about the technicals. Okay, so come check that out, guys. Crypto Angels asks thoughts on LTC. So that's another coin that I'm watching. I didn't want to talk about it much, but it is, you know, on my radar. Let me pull up this chart right here. You know, I sold off my LTC position as well. One target that I was looking forward to was 62.5. It did not make it up there, and I was happy to actually let go of my position right around here. I think 60.02 or so. So once I let that go and close out all my trades, I haven't picked up any of this stuff until I see some healthy BTC movement. Okay, so for now, what we're really waiting for is Bitcoin to sort of give us a sign of strength. LTC will definitely be one on my radar, and like I mentioned, BAT is going to be one as well. BAT is already starting to make a move, so I'm gonna have to pay attention close to that. Let's see. Hey, JK says, comment on 95% fake volume trading day report. Yeah, so basically, guys, when you see this sort of report come out, I mean, I'm not really surprised because, we've been talking about this for a while. There's a lot of manipulation happening on exchanges. And it's a lot of wash trading too, so wash trading usually happens because you want to ramp up volume and prices to be able to sort of spoof the data. And the reason you do that is because you want to attract more traders, more retailers, because you want to engineer liquidity onto your exchange. You want, for every buyer you want another seller, and vice versa, right? And so if there's not enough money on either side, one side is going to be tilted, and you can't have that if you're a reputable exchange. Because, so for example, if Bitcoin it only has, say, I don't know, $1 million of liquidity on Binance, it's not going to go so well because, say a couple $100,000 orders will buy up the entire order book on Binance, and that will skyrocket the price of Bitcoin or any other, alt or shitcoin or whatever, okay? And you don't want that because you don't want huge spikes in a particular asset, because then you've basically, controlled that asset for that market. And exchanges don't want that, because then other buyers or, other retailers are going to be fearful of joining your exchange because they either, see the coin tanking really hard, or they just may not be able to get in at the prices because it's, taking off, or, prices are too high. Altcoins are skyrocketing or dumping hard, because usually when someone buys up a lot of coins, right, they want retailers to come basically buy it back from them for a higher price. And when that's happening, the person who's selling, he has a lot to sell. Okay, so he's usually going to market dump on retailers, and then you're the one who's going to be holding the bags, and while that other person just profited. Because not only did they buy up the entire order book, but you, as the retailer, came to rescue him by taking his shitcoins off his hands at a higher price while, he kind of rides off into the sunset, right? So this is why, more volume, especially accurate volume with more liquidity on exchanges, is more important, okay? But anyway, here's our educational channel. I have a lot of information in here, whether you want to learn about head and shoulders patterns, whether you want to learn about the book that I'm reading, Ray Dalio Principles, whether you want to look at some of the articles that I read up, videos I mocked up, all kinds of stuff I put in here. It will definitely fill up your days, I promise you. Okay. Taj wants me to look at RVN. I don't really care for RVN. I don't care how high it goes. It just really doesn't matter. It's obviously been skyrocketing, and even if it keeps moving, guys, like it's not a big deal. Okay, this is such a risky trade to buy something like this. On a daily chart, this is made a parabolic move, right? I don't know how high it could go, but I also know how low it can go. So if you do buy here, I'd probably just place your stops, a little bit under this wick right here. So say, 1300 just to be safe, okay? But I have no intention of trading RVN. So if I were you, I'd just, sort of be safe and, not not try to FOMO in and, you know, get excited by these gains that you may potentially get. Okay, it's best to trade, you know, something that moves like this, right? This is why this is my favorite one out of all the coins. Okay, so hang on one second, let me show you guys. So, you know, this style of 45-degree angle movement, as you can see, right, it's a nice, you know, sideways movement. Okay, this is exactly what you want to see, right? Not something like this. Okay, this is just too much. I mean, too much straight up, you know, rocket, you know, moonshot, right? You know, same with, you know, Bitcoin or Litecoin. You want nice, consistent 45-degree angle movement from the left side of your screen to the right side, top right side of your screen. That's exactly the kind of movement that you want. Okay. All right. TradingView has added Huobi. Oh yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I knew that, I think. Goran, what do you think about BNB? Buy now or wait for a pullback? So I actually just mentioned BNB the other day. Now, do you mean BNB Tether or Bitcoin, Goran? But yeah, for the most part, on BNB, I had mentioned that this is definitely a critical area that you want to take profits on, right around 17.3, 17.2. And as you can see, it hit that top and it's getting, you know, retraced. Probably watch out for, you know, 16.0 or 16.1 as a point to retrace, and then you can take the next, you know, leg up. Okay, but I do think that Binance coin has been, you know, really moving well, and I'm a really big fan of the BNB. I don't actually own any, but I'm really big fan of it because, you know, it has one of the more better fundamentals in terms of its utility, what it could do as a token on an exchange, as well as the fact that, you know, Binance is actually one of the exchanges that is doing a lot for the crypto space in terms of, you know, their launch pad of launching other alts, other cryptos, giving, you know, people in the crypto space a voice and the ability to build a project, the ability to fund their project, etc. Okay, and I also, you know, do like CZ. I think he's a genuine person, and I think he has good intentions for the crypto space, even though I think he does a lot of shady stuff in terms of allowing a lot of bot-like behavior on the exchanges. You know, I guess you can't really help it because you know that, you know, these bots are smart money or smart traders are the ones who actually hold up your exchange because, you know, they're the ones who actually bring a lot of the liquidity because they have a ton of money. So I don't completely blame him, but point is, I like Binance and BNB BTC especially. You know, it's taking off quite well actually. Let's see if we, you know, sort of did a fib retrace from here and then sort of did an extension. How would that look? Let's turn this off. Oh, whoops. What am I doing? Okay. So that 2.618 Fibonacci extension is coming up shortly. Let's just say, you know, 0.005, so 4.9 just to be safe. That might be your, you know, final stop to take profit. Usually the 2.618 Fibonacci extension is, you know, quite the height of, you know, one of the extensions that you can take of a movement. So first one being the 1.618, and then it typically retraces, and then it moves up to that, you know, final move of the 2.618. I would probably say, you know, take your profits right around that area, but you could set your buys if you want to buy the retrace around, like, you know, this right here, 40413. Okay, I hope that helps, Goran. So watch for that retrace from 40413, and let's see how much of a percent that is. From here to here, that's about a 20 to 22% gain, so pretty good, right? So if you buy that, that'd be pretty nice. All right, guys. I think that's pretty much all I have. Let me check out the weekly real quick, see how that's doing. I hope everyone enjoyed my analysis. It's the first weekly candle that we've seen in the last couple of weeks that's actually, you know, somewhat bearish right now. You know, as you can see, the past 5 or 6 weeks, I mean, it's been overwhelmingly, you know, bullish upside movement, and now we're finally seeing, you know, this doji sort of evening star like candle right here, starting to, you know, pull us back just a little bit. So keep an eye on this, and, you know, make sure that it doesn't retrace beyond say 38.50. Then it might be time to let go of your positions, guys, because it could retrace, you know, much harder and much deeper. Okay, that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed it, guys. Again, you know, go to cryptosomniac.com, sign up for the advantage if you want to get our trades. If you want my daily analysis, guys, you know, like I said, every single day, multiple updates. We put on trades in our short, you know, medium, and long-term channels. Actually, Jordan just put out a trade for Tomo. I probably shouldn't be giving it away, but that's one of his trades. So yeah, we have a lot of trades, guys. You know, come join, and I'll see you guys soon. All right, that's it. Take care and have a good night.